Jameson Williams is in town, and he's interviewing basically with the Eagles. Are they building this football team for Jalen Hurts? Or are they building this team for another quarterback? Big Sales National Football Show. Appreciate you coming aboard here on this Tuesday. Man, we're 2 weeks, a little bit out from the NFL draft. I can't wait to see where your favorite team, including the Philadelphia Eagles, goes when it comes to the draft and what they're going to do. I can't. I'm really looking forward to this. Seeing what the game plan is going to be when it comes to building this team. I got a question here for you here in a second. But as you guys know, I've been doing like double duty here for the last couple weeks, and we've been on with Barrett at the middle. And I threw this out last night. Alec Bowman, the third baseman for the Phillies, got in a little bit of issues here with the city. And I asked Barrett earlier today, and I was just talking to Xander about this. I'm going to paraphrase it here. Guy had 3 errors, and you can see him, and he mouthed, "I hate this effing place. I hate it." And he was talking about Philly. Then he came, and Xander says this. He goes, and then Barrett says he'll never recover like Ricky Williams didn't recover. And I was like this. I'm kind of caught in the middle there with both of these guys. I think they're never going to forget it. But I think if the guy goes out and hits 280, which he hasn't, and he goes out and he starts to live up to his promise and what the Phillies thought they were going to get out of him with the third pick in 18, he can make that all go away. You can make that all go away. Okay? You can make it all go away. All you have to do, just like Jason Kelsey says, you just got to win, man. Play hard. Don't talk shit on the city. He could have said anything, but they're going to remember that. That's going to be tied to his legacy in Philadelphia, that he said shit like that. They're going to remember that. Okay? Can he overcome it? Got to win. Got to bring the Phillies a World Series title. It's the only way you erase shit like that is if you do something spectacular. You know how Iverson was always able to get away with shit? Iverson won an Eastern Conference Finals, got his team into the NBA Finals against one of the iconic teams in NBA history, those Shaq and Kobe teams, with Phil, and went out there and balled his ass off. Iverson was a legend, delivered wins, okay? Practice, all that stuff. Nobody in Philly cared because he was a winner. Same thing with Schmidt. Schmidt talked shit. He won, though. They won a World Series once they got Rose. Everybody can erase that stuff, okay, when it comes to your legacy and how you're perceived in Philadelphia. I said something about James Harden, too, as we get ready for the end. God, there's so much going on, right? There's just so much going on. James Harden, we were just talking about him as well as we get ready for the NBA playoffs. What's the chances of the Sixers ending up going on and playing in the Eastern Conference Finals? I think Doc Rivers needs that to keep his gig. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But James Harden, man, his new nickname to me is Donut. I'm going to start calling him Donut. He is fat, he is out of shape, and it just seems at times he doesn't care. And he's a no-show and Casper the Ghost when it comes to playing in the postseason. Dude, you've got to change that narrative. You have got to change that narrative. You can't be fat guy Harden. Dude, show us you care. I tell you this all the time. I tell my daughter this all the time. It takes zero athleticism to be in shape. You can't be in shape? Daryl Morey did not bring you to Philadelphia, okay, so that you can be an assist guy. They need perimeter shooting. If they don't get perimeter shooting from James Harden during the postseason, Sixers have no chance of advancing to the NBA Finals. Absolutely no way. All right. Let's get into a little bit here with the Philadelphia Eagles here. Jameson Williams is in town, and he's interviewing basically with the Eagles. Are they building this football team for Jalen Hurts? Or are they building this team for another quarterback? I think it's an important question to ask. Who are they building this team for? Are they building this team for what they see in Jalen? How could they be looking at Jalen Hurts and thinking that you're not looking at bringing in a veteran wide receiver? Now, maybe before the draft, maybe they end up making a trade. There's word out there that the 49ers are now taking calls for Deebo Samuel. Guys, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, are you not on the horn right now for Deebo Samuel and the 49ers? By the way, guys who are waiting to see Philly 500, he'll be at the bottom of the hour, just so you know. Philly 500 will be with us at the bottom of the hour. Do you go after Deebo Samuel if you're Howie Roseman? Or would you rather have a guy in the draft? You're not going to be able to afford him. You're not. And according to Kyle Shanahan and some people in the Bay Area, the 49ers have been taking calls. Do you know what you don't want to see? You don't want to see Deebo Samuel in Green Bay. You don't want to see Deebo Samuel in another team in the NFC like Dallas. You don't want to see that. Do you have the money? Of course you have the money to go get him. You're $30 million under the salary cap. You've got the majority of your offense on rookie contracts. You're paying your quarterback $1.5. You're not even paying $1 million. Between both of your wide receivers, you're paying them $800,000 per. You have no money vested in your huddle except in your O-line, which is cool, which is good. Joe says, I'd rather have a proven commodity. Deebo would have been done if I were the general manager, says Jerry. No, he wants to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. Okay. Who do you think is a more versatile football player and more things that you can do? This guy's like a unicorn. Deebo Samuel, I can run it. Wait a minute. I don't mind paying him $20 million when I can run him in the backfield, put him in the slot, line him up out wide. I'm getting 3 functional positions for the price of 1. I don't know. You mean to tell me I could use him in the slot, running back, wide receiver, Y or Z? $20 million? Okay, I'm good. How about this? Who would you rather pay $25 million to? Deebo Samuel or Tyreek Hill? Who would you rather? Right. Think about it, Jerry. $20 million for a guy who plays 3 different positions? It's a bargain. Remember how Jimmy Graham used to always try to tell people that he wanted to be paid as a wide receiver, but yet he was a tight end? And the league didn't want to put a distinction, or they didn't want to define him as a wideout because he was a tight end. Why would he do that? Wide receivers make more money. See, this is where Deebo gets in trouble being as versatile as he is. What's he labeled? A wideout? Running back? Or is he labeled a slot guy? Well, he wants to be the wide receiver because the wide receivers make 10 times the money that the running backs make. It's a good bargain deal. I don't have a problem paying him. Who would you rather, watch this, who would you rather pay $25 million to? Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel. Let me think. DeAndre Hopkins. I'll take Samuel. I'll pay that guy $20 million and have no problem with it. Now, you could go with what Dev says. Draft a wide receiver. So you're going to put more inexperience in more players in your offensive huddle to try to help a guy like Jalen Hurts with another rookie. That makes no sense. You're never going to. What did the one thing the Dallas Cowboys do right when it came to developing Dak Prescott? They got him a veteran wideout in Amari Cooper. Okay? That's what they're doing for Tagovailoa. You know what Tagovailoa said? Here, I got it written down here. Tagovailoa said that because of Mike McDaniel's coaching staff, he feels more involved with the offense. And get this, he feels more positivity being around them because why? These guys are coaching him. I don't believe that Brian Flores was ever in on Tua Tagovailoa. Mike McDaniel is an offensive-minded coach. He's the guy in front of him. Mike's going to coach his ass. He's not going to half-ass coach it. He's not going to pull him. He's not going to do this. He's going to give him, along with Chris Greer, every opportunity to succeed. What they're doing in Miami, why are they not doing it in Philadelphia? Why are they not doing it here in Philly? Tell me why they're not doing it. A different formula, a different look of success. Why are you not doing it? Okay? Xander goes, people are sleeping on Tua. He could throw the rock. He's just not a deep passer, in my opinion. Not yet. Maybe this changes the dynamic, though. Maybe this changes the dynamic because you know what he has now in Miami? Tagovailoa has this. He has Waddle running those cross routes, and now you have Hill over the top like he had. What does it resemble? What he did at Alabama. And they run the ball effectively in Miami. Remember something with Tyreek Hill. Dude, you could throw him a 5-yard pass, and he'll do exactly what D-Jax did. He'll turn that baby into a 50-yard touchdown. Why are the Eagles not acting like the Miami Dolphins? What are the Dolphins, and why are the Dolphins? Get this. I said this to you a couple times. Man, I feel better about the Dolphins today. And you know what? I was so against the firing of Brian Flores. I thought it was a really shitty fire. But today, I feel better about the Dolphins' chances of competing in the AFC East more so than I did 3 months ago. I'm not saying they're better than Buffalo, but they're going to compete. They're trying. How about this? Watch this. Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill. There's a push there. One guy's got a Super Bowl, too. One guy's got a Super Bowl. I can't tell you who the other wide receiver in Buffalo is. Well, I know who the other wide receiver in Miami is because he had 104 catches last year. The Dolphins, in my opinion, actually probably have as formidable as an offensive attack as the Buffalo Bills. The only difference, obviously, is Josh Allen versus Tagovailoa. But look at how Miami went out and got an offensive-minded coach instead of a defensive-minded coach. They made that transition. You know, at the end of the day, as much as Stephen Ross got held, the owner of the Dolphins, he's actually, it seems they're doing the right thing. The quarterback is even saying, it seems that there's a better environment here. That's what the code was for me, was it looked like that there was a better environment for Tagovailoa to succeed. What do you think that environment looks like in Philly? You know what it looks like? It just looks cheap. Mickey says, F the Dolphins. Well, Mickey, what are you doing then in Philly? You won't look at A.J. Brown. You won't look at DK Metcalf. You won't look at Deebo Samuel where everyone else is. Why? Because you want to draft a rookie wide receiver? Give me a break. Breaking in another guy? Oh, I know why. Because that gives Howie another 3 years and going, oh, see, he just needs more time. And by the way, does anybody buy that bullshit story that Jalen Reagor and the Eagles are fielding calls for his services in a trade? Does anybody really believe that? Does anybody in their right mind believe it? Does anybody? That is, in my opinion, that shit that's being leaked out by the Eagles. Where else would you get it by? Do you know what the agent probably got? Hey, you could probably throw this out if you want. We're taking calls for Jalen Reagor. Who would call for Jalen Reagor unless you were doing this? Okay, I'll give you a 6th rounder for him. Why would you make that public? Think about what and how bad that story is. Let's hypothetically say that Jalen Reagor, okay, and the Eagles are fielding conversations. So you're going to want that public that you're going to trade Jalen Reagor for a 5th rounder when you wasted a 1st rounder on him. How does that remotely make sense? That you're trying to create what kind of market for him? You think you're getting a 1, 2, 3, 4 for that guy? Absolutely not. You would never get a 4th round pick for that guy. Absolutely not. Never. So why would you want that out? I wouldn't let anyone know that I'm fielding calls for him. Anytime you look bad publicly, you're trying to avoid that. Why would you put an exclamation point? Hey, we're fielding calls. You know, a lot of people are calling for the services of Jalen Reagor. Yeah, here's a 6th rounder. It sounds dumb. It's one thing if you had a 6th round wideout and people are calling going, I'll give you a 3. That's a win. Like the scenario with Gardner Minshew. The Colts wanted to try to make a trade for him. They wanted to give the Eagles like a 3rd rounder for him. And Howie balked at it and said, nah, that's okay. We're good. He's probably the best substitute teacher, backup quarterback in the league right now. Why would he give that up? He knows that that's going to be a potential trade asset as we get closer to the NFL draft. Why would he give that up for a 3 when maybe he can get a 2? Or keep the guy, and the guy is a backup quarterback in case something happens to Jalen, you got a starter. Or at least a guy that could bridge you to the next year on figuring out whether Jalen could be the guy or you draft a guy. You know, that shows me a lot on how people don't really do their homework when it comes to the draft. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of history. I've been reading a little bit on the draft. You know, what's the big narrative this year on the NFL draft that there's no star quarterback? Well, let me go back. 1979. And again, I don't really remember 1979, so I did some reading on it. You know the quarterbacks were taken in that draft were? Phil Simms and Joe Montana. And they said that supposedly that was going to be one of the worst drafting quarterback years in the history of the NFL draft. I think the draft has been around since 36. And they said that was going to be one of the worst quarterback drafts of all time. Well, one guy won 2 Super Bowls and the other guy won 4. Okay? One guy's got 2. He was on 2 Super Bowl championship teams, and the other guy was Joe Montana, won 4 of them. I mean, was arguably the 2nd greatest quarterback in the history of the league next to Brady. Okay? You never know. Is the point. You don't know if Kenny Pickett is not going to be a good quarterback. You have no idea if Malik Willis is going to turn out to be the next Randall Cunningham. You have no idea. Patrick Mahomes is a great example of that. Or even if you want to go into what we were talking to with Tagovailoa. Remember? It was like suck for Tua, tank for Tua. That's what it was. Tank for Tua. And they ended up taking Tua, I believe, 5th. And the quarterback taken after him was Justin Herbert. Now, who would you rather have? Jerry, it's not so much that, like, look, this kid Aiden Hutchinson, let me ask you something. Everybody thinks he's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft. Do you see Joey Boa or Chase Young out of that dude? Do you guys see Chase Young? When you watch Aiden Hutchinson play, do you see Chase Young? Do you see Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa from that guy from Michigan? Do you see that? I don't. Do you compare that guy to J.J. Watt? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe like a Jared Allen, who was a fine ball player, was nominated, and the Hall of Fame may end up putting him in the Hall of Fame one day. Okay? I mean, but when I see Aiden Hutchinson, watch this. I'll tell you this. Would it shock you? Would it shock you if Devontae Wyatt had a better career than Aiden Hutchinson? Would it shock you? Would not shock me. Would not shock me. Okay? So the point, once again, you never know, but doing your due diligence and building a football team, it really is about going the extra mile and doing your homework on a kid, talking to the kid, looking at his film. How are you building the team? That's why I ask you, is Howie building his team for him or for Jalen? It just seems to me Howie feels this round peg goes here. This square peg goes here. And everything is cookie cutter. Everything has got to be this. Well, first rounders have to stay on the team. Why? Well, we drafted them, and people in our org. You know why Howie keeps those guys like Derek Bennett and Jalen Reagor and Whiteside? You know why they keep them on the team? Do you know why? Because his personnel department and his scouts, their reputations are on those guys. Their reputations. Howie's assistants that evaluate the college personnel and the pro personnel are more important than the position coaches you have on Sundays. Think about that. Howie Roseman's people are more important than your coaching staff. You see in how they handle Doug Peterson. Think of that. The coaches are not as important as Howie's college and pro scouts who go to him and put and feed him the talent that's in the league. That's scary. Who would know better than when a guy is running bags or a guy is looking at game film? Who better to evaluate whether or not a player belongs on your team than the head coach and his coaches? But in Philly, it's Howie and his assistants that determine who's on the team. They probably have a vote. Should this guy be on the team? They probably actually vote. And then they go to Nick and say, here's where we are. And then Nick's people say, this is what, but they get overridden because Howie has the autonomy. We heard that when he was at the combines. That is, without a doubt, that is a fundamental flaw, that your scouting department has more say in building the team than the assistants or the head coach. It's frightening. Because here, if Nick Sirianni works out Devontae Wyatt, let's just use his name, and goes to Howie, this kid's great. Howie's people comes to him and goes, I'll tell you something. We really think that he's a good football player too. But you know what? I really like Zion Johnson, the old lineman, okay, from Boston College. He's really a fine ball player. He would really fit into our team. Howie's going to look at both guys and go with the personnel guys. It's Howie's world. That's right. BRR, it totally is. All right, guys, we're going to bring this all up with our friend, Philly 500. Can't wait to get him on. He's going to be at the bottom of the hour. So I'm going to take a time out right now. Do me a favor. Smash the like button. So much more to hit on. And by the way, I want to throw this at you too here. Does Jalen need a little bit of a push in camp? What's wrong with a little competition? I'm not saying he should have to fight for his job. But how about a little push by bringing in a veteran quarterback? And not just Gardner Minshew. Okay? Hit the like button. Keep it right here on the National Football.